You're watching Toronto Sports Rush on the Bet Rivers Network.
Welcome into the Toronto Sports Rush here on the Bet Rivers Network. EJ Hradek here, and today my guest, John MacLean, longtime New Jersey Devil. He was a coach. He's been an assistant coach. He's one of the terrific players in really in NHL history when you think about it. I didn't realize, Mac, you played 1,194 games, 413 goals. I mean, almost 850 points. I mean, and you missed the whole year in kind of the middle of your career.
Yeah, right after my third 40-goal year, I think I missed the whole year, and then of course, little labor stoppages from time to time during that time of everybody's career. So, but all in all, I'm happy, and I had a nice career, so very thankful for that.
6th overall pick in 1983, an Oshawa General. I think you once told me, once a general, always a general. So when you grew up in that area, were you a Leafs fan growing up, or were you rooting for someone else?
Well, you know what, I can't say I was a Leafs fan. I watched the Leafs every Saturday night. We'd get them on Hockey Night in Canada. Of course, I would watch the Leafs all the time. I know all the players from that era, the 70s era, and early or the 80s, the guys I played against, of course, but not really a true fan. Leaf Nation is a special nation. They have a lot of fans. I was a little more towards the Bruins because all the Bruins came out of Oshawa, basically. Bobby Orr, Terry O'Reilly, Wayne Cashman, Rick Middleton. The Bruins own the Oshawa Generals at one point. So probably leaned a little bit towards Boston, changed my allegiance a little bit. I was a big New York Islander fan. Maybe I'm a front runner because they were winning there in the early 80s anyways. Yeah. But I did enjoy, Clark Gillies. The only jersey I ever owned was a Clark Gillies jersey.
Wow. Well, that's a good one. That's a good one. Those were great teams. And, it's hard. It was hard not to like those teams unless you were just a Ranger fan who hated the Islanders. So, other than that, it was good. True. In that era, I want to ask you, because the Olympics are coming up, and I was kind of doing the homework because I've known you now for many years, and but sometimes you just take for granted things I didn't realize. The Olympics are coming up. The pros, obviously didn't play in the Olympics in your era. You wore the Canadian jersey on 2 occasions, from what I could tell: the World Juniors in '84, the World Championships in '89. Were you thinking about maybe being on that 84 Canadian Olympic team? Because I look at that roster, it's a lot of your peers. I think you easily could have been on it.
Yeah, no, that never entered the equation. I was pro already at that point. So,
so you had already turned pro.
Yeah, so I played in '83 was my first year. I played 20 some odd games with the Devils, and then the following years, Kirk Muller played on that team, right? He played on the '84 team. There's a few guys that played from our era, but the Olympics never really, weaved into my career at that time. Pros weren't allowed to play. 2 world championships. Yeah, that was good. I got invited to one of the Canada Cup training camps, which was nice, but so I never got that opportunity. And it seems like it's becoming bigger and bigger now. These guys all want to play there, and it's nice. This is the best league in the world, is the NHL. So it's nice that they get to go and play in this and put their talents out there. But I'm a little old school. I still think your first commitment has to be to the team that's paying you the money. So, but you know what? We'll enjoy it. I'll watch it. It's going to be great hockey. I'd sooner the 4 nations on the ice surface that they play on, and those rules that North American rules. I think that Canada Cup's that type of deal. That would be better hockey for me to watch. But the Olympics will be fun, and you get to see a lot of different stories.
What do you think about Team Canada in particular? Obviously, I would say they're if not the favorite, certainly a co-favorite, maybe with Team USA. The landscape has changed. There's injury issues. Russia's not a part of it now for geopolitical reasons. But what do you make of Team Canada's group? Because obviously they've got a lot of high-end talent.
Yeah, they're deep, and I like the way they kind of went after it this year. They've actually put a team together. I mean, they're talented. They of course they have the best player in the world in McDavid, and they have a lot of high end skill. But then they added Tom Wilson. I like adding a little bit of grit like that. And you look at the Canada Cup teams; they always added somebody like that. Pepe Lemieux played on one of them. Rick Tocchet played. Like you have to have the sandpaper there for that. And then their back end, of course, is talented. They have some good size back there, and they can move the puck, which is nice. I think the only question mark, and only for the fact that when you look back at all the Olympics, the goaltenders, the third goalie was a Hall of Famer on the Canadian teams, right? Now you're the guys that they got, they're proving themselves, but I'm not, that would be the only Achilles heel, I think, for the Canadian team.
And what about the idea of it's a short tournament, it gets to be a single elimination? The way it lays out is with the 12 teams, they play in 3 different groups. They have a round robin that's really just done for seeding. So even after the 3 games, nobody's eliminated. And then there's 4 teams that will get byes, and then they play off through there, and it's single elimination. As you mentioned, you played in the World Championships, you played the World Juniors. I mean, these are short tournaments. What could you tell the listener or the viewer about like a short tournament, the mentality of coming together in that short window?
Yeah, and I don't think that's going to be an issue for the Canadian team, just by listening to the way they talk and how excited they are. These guys are great because they can get to a special level, right? They can get to that next level. Not everybody can get to that. They're all playoff performers. It's no different when you put them in a short tournament. I actually think it helps them. It helps their focus. They don't need to practice. They need to just get their level up, their work and their commitment. And I think they're all committed to it. And if they are, and I'm assuming they are. They'll be ready to go right from the puck drop. There won't be. You can't. The funny thing with these is like, oh gosh, you're going to play Switzerland or something. Oh, let's take them easy. No one's easy. The Swiss team skates well. They do everything well. They system wise they're good. So you have to be ready for them. You have to have that same commitment. And I think there's been enough play over the years against these teams that they know that gone are the days you're going to beat Switzerland 13-0. You're going to beat them 3-1 now, or even Latvia. Yeah. Okay, maybe you beat them 5-4. They have skill. So you have to be on your toes the whole time. And I think these guys are going to be ready for that. Well, at least we hope they are. And I think it'll be a competitive tournament. But I think the short term will help them.
Yeah, so the Olympics go on, and there's a handful of the players that are going to go over to Italy. Then there's the rest of the league. They get a little bit of a break. I mean, you're also a hockey dad. Your son Kyle plays for the Islanders right now. So, what do you think that's like? Is it good for the players to get a break? And does it just like a team that's playing well right now? The Blue Jackets are playing well. The Leafs have won a couple games in a row. Is it disruptive? How do you feel it is there? Because you've been an assistant coach, you've been a head coach, so you've gone through this. How does it impact the team on the NHL level?
Well, if you're watching how teams have played in the past week, they need a break.
It looks that way.
The schedule is so ridiculous that they need it. I mean, Columbus is playing well. It may hurt them a little bit, but they have that boost. They got bonus new coach, so that run's going to go on. So I think they definitely need the rest for how condensed the season has been. I'm looking forward to watching the second half here once this breaks over, because now you have fresh guys. And I know the guys are going to the Olympics, but the guys that aren't going get the first part off, right? They get their break the first part. The Olympic guys will get the second part. They'll be ready to go. They'll get their 5 days. They won't have to practice. They're going to come right back in. They'll be ready to go right away. So I think it's the way the way the league wants it. They set it up good for that, for both sides, that they get their rest, but they do need that rest during the season right now, because the travel schedule that these guys have and the playing, getting into cities in and out, it's a grind. So I think it'll be exciting for the league on the second half here, because I think you're going to see a separation of teams that are going to be ready to go and rest. Take advantage of the rest, and have had a good year so far. We'll continue to keep pushing right to the end.
All right, let me ask you about the Leafs because I mean you were an assistant coach for the Islanders the last couple of years. They were kind of a team that was on the bubble and in different at different points of things. That's the Leafs are in that situation right now. I mean, prior to this little 3-game winning streak on the road trip, I mean they had a bad 5-game homestand, and it's been that kind of roller coaster year, Johnny Mac. It's just up and down with them, and if they get in, maybe they can be a dangerous team, but the odds are kind of against them right now. What is your observation from what you've seen from this Leafs team that's gone through the year a little different without Mitch Marner and trying to kind of find their way through a bunch of injuries?
Yeah, and that's always tough, right? Mitch Marner was a big part of that organization. He had a lot of friends there, and they had to go through that transition. So it took them a while to get out of the fog of not having Mitch Marner. I think they've played well. Matthews looks like he's a dangerous guy. I mean, the Olympics may help him to even have that heavy push. He's a one-man show when he's playing up to his capabilities. So the East I think the East is wide open, so there's always an opportunity. And the Leaf Nation, they go through struggles at times, so it's the up and down. They're used to it, but the one thing about them, they support their team, and there's a lot of good hockey players there. And I think with what they have there, they do have an opportunity. Nylander's been hurt; he's a great player. You see the guys coming on. Nyes is coming on great. O'Reilly's out now, but their back end's not bad. They move the puck really well. You're getting some good. I think if they can get healthy, I think Chief has a good handle on it, having been there and went through something similar with the St. Louis Blues and ended up winning the Cup. It's about getting into the playoffs, and I think if he gets a healthy squad, he may be able to push this team in. And as we know, once you're in, it's wide open. I don't see anybody in the East being not beatable at a certain point. I mean, the West, it looks like Colorado and Edmonton are going to come out, are going to fight for it. But I think for the East, the hardest part is going to be getting in, and getting in, even in a wild card, you're still going to have to probably have 95, 98 points the way things are going right now.
Yeah, it just seems like it is with Florida being in the situation they're in. They're on the outside looking in right now, and they've got a bunch of injuries. They got a big win over the Boston Bruins on Wednesday night, and every point is really so vital. I mean, I want to just lean on your experience these last couple of years with the Islanders. Just what is that like, the day to day, where like 1 minute you're in, 1 minute you're out, guys out. You win games that you think you're going to lose, then you lose games you think you're going to win. What is that ride like for the coaches, for the players, for everybody involved?
Yeah, and then that's where it gets tough. You have to stay on an even keel, though. You lose a game, you can't. It's hard to watch the standings here right now because you're just looking for that line. Are we on above that line, or we're below that line, or did we go from third place to eighth place? Where are we going? And if you get caught up in it, I don't think now's the time to be getting caught up into it. So I think from a coaching perspective, you have to keep an even keel and go, okay, well, you know what, the same old sayings always go, try and go 500 on the road, try and play 700 at home. So if you can just focus on that, I think the standings always take care of itself. Really, the standings don't come into play, or the runs don't. You kind of have to keep it out of your mind up until probably the last 20 games, and you start going. And with today's media coverage, everybody's covering it. You lost today. If you don't go 19 in a row, you're not going to get in the playoffs. But it's like, then you're like, oh geez, how do we do it? But if you could once you get the balance, and that's what I say about Berube, it's a good coach. The experience is going to help him, having been through the situation, and he's very even keeled man that I think will help his team to go, okay, this is just play. Don't look too far ahead. And that's for every team, though. Like, I mean, you get on a roll and you're like, oh my God, we're going to be first in the division. We're going to the Stanley Cup. I'm going to be playing in June. I got to make sure. Like, no, that stuff all takes care of itself. And that's the end result that'll take care of itself. The teams that stay in an even keel are usually the teams that get in and have an opportunity to compete for the Cup.
Hey Mac, what do you think of Buffalo, the Toronto's neighbor there, not too far down the road there? Because that's a team. The last couple of years, I've looked at their roster. You look at some of their players, you're like, boy, they should be better. And particularly this year, they started off kind of up and down, but they really have found their way. They've been one of the best teams in the NHL since early December. What do you make of the Sabres and their push? Is this real, or is this a team that still, has more to prove?
No, I got to believe it's real. Like, I mean, when you have the talent, as you mentioned there, I just everything just seems to be. I think there was, I think they got a little bit scared. I think Buffalo's they well supported Sabres fans. They get all kinds of fans coming. People talk about them. They get treated well. It's a great place to live. The cost of living's low there as far as getting housing and that. So I think they just keep. I think when Kalinin came in there, I think he scared them, and he's like, "Hey, I didn't draft any of you guys. I don't really care. I want to win here." And they kind of went, "Uh-oh, we better start playing and start coming together and start playing for the Sabre on the front as opposed to the name on the back." And that's what I'm noticing with that team is that they are playing collectively together. Lindy Ruff, another veteran coach, does a great job, even keeled. He's got them going. He knows how to, he knows how to run his bench. He knows who's going. He gets them out there at the right times. And now you see their leadership coming up. They're playing cocky on the ice now. Darlene's playing cocky on the ice. He's starting to do. Thompson started getting back to that level, playing cocky. But he's playing cocky as far as a team game. He's scoring goals, but he's also playing the team game. And the Doan kid has played really well for them. So all these first rounders that they have are starting to go, oh, okay, now I kind of get it. Oh, and now we're finding our role. We're going, oh, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what expected of me. I got to put the effort in. We, night in, night out, and the consistency is finally there for them, which, for that organization, it's great to see. And to your point, we should have seen it a little bit earlier, but right now we're seeing it, and sometimes it takes longer. There's no straight line to, straight line to get to where you want to get to, but they are playing extremely well, and they're a fun team to watch.
Mac, as I mentioned earlier, your son Kyle plays for the Islanders, and so I know you watch the Islanders quite a bit. I wanted to ask you about Matthew Schaefer and his impact. Another Toronto kid, Toronto area kid, and first overall pick last year. For me, like I thought, maybe go to college for a year or stay in junior for a year. I mean, I hate to see these young kids, 18 years old, particularly on defense, where you can get dinged around. So I was concerned because he's such a very likable young guy. No problem for Matthew Schaefer. He comes in the league. I think he's got 16 goals and zipping up and down the ice. He was in consideration for the Canadian Olympic team. Some would argue that he should be on it. I mean, what do you make? You've got to see him probably a little bit more than some of the others.
Yeah, and what I've noticed, I mean, yes, he is a great kid, though. All the kudos to him and tremendous skater, all that. But, he has that personality and that type of play that's kind of infectious, and everybody's kind of grabbed onto it. I think with him being how he is up the ice and how he respects his teammates, but he has fun with his teammates. You see a guy like Ryan Pulock getting his game to the next level as well, that he's healthy. He's getting up the ice. Adam Pelech is getting up the ice. Tony DeAngelo is playing a nice little role there. He passes the puck so well. So he's brought along those 6 defensemen. The defensive group, they all want to be a part of it. They're like, oh, okay, well, let's, we'll pass it. He's going to go up the ice. We'll go once in a while. We'll go up the ice. In this league today, you can't play 3 and 2. You got to play 5 guys. 5 guys have to get up. They have to be involved in your offense. And his play has just been just brought that team to another level, and they've been competing hard, and they've been playing well through the neutral zone, and I think everything just goes hand in hand, and their goaltending's been really good. But his personality definitely has given this team a good shot in the arm, and they're playing off his passion and finding their games as well. So it's been a lot of fun to watch. Night in, night out, they compete. They don't win every game, but every night they're in something, and it's been fun to watch. And he's he's just his ceiling. Excited to see where it goes because it's hard to see what his ceiling could be the way he's playing as an 18-year-old. So when he matures even more and fills out even more, we could be talking, one of the greats that plays.
All right. Well, before I let you go, Mac, I want to ask you. I know just recently you were inducted into the Devils Ring of Honor, and so congratulations on that. Some would say you should have your number retired there in New Jersey. I would be one of those, but hey, it's a great honor to be part of the Ring of Honor, and who knows what the future holds. In a lot of the, when you think about, when I think about your time with the Devils, obviously you helped push that team. We're talking about Buffalo, right? Good young players kind of start to figure it out. You go on that journey, and then eventually, you had the big goal, and I guess it was '88 to give the Devils a push into the playoffs for the first time, and you guys had a good playoff run. Then you have your ups and downs. You finally get there. You win in '95. That final series against Detroit, what do you remember about that particular series? Because you guys had just a bitter loss to the Rangers the year before, and you were on such a good run. But the Red Wings were a very highly thought of team. What do you remember about that particular series in winning the Stanley Cup? And you did it in winning in 4 straight games.
Yeah, and no, it was a great honor for the Ring of Honor. It was awesome to be in. The Devils treated me first class. It was unbelievable with my family. It's incredible. What I remember about the '95, there's always something going on. The one funny thing is, like, somebody said, the Red Wings, I don't know if they did it or not. They were carrying the Gatorade bucket around pretending it was a Stanley Cup, like, before the series started. And I'm like, I think I knew myself and our whole team, we were just on such a mission for that year, and we knew we were good. I don't think Detroit knew how good we were. Our names may not have matched up with their names as far as notoriety, but we knew we had a very good team, and we felt very confident that if we played our game plan that we were going to win. And that's the way it ended up. It was, it wasn't that the real push came from them, maybe game 4, but only for the fact that we were so excited that we knew we were going to win. I mean, we were so nervous today for game 4, morning skate. Lemaire, he's like looking at us, and he shortened up morning skate, and he calls us over, guys, relax. We only have to win 1 game. That's it. I only want you for 1 game. Just win 1 game. That's it. And that put us at ease, knowing that we were going to go into that game and win. And it was a great feeling just to see the culmination of all the work we put in with the Devils in the early years. So it was a nice cap to going through the tough years, and then to see the fruition of winning the Stanley Cup was incredible.
Yeah, that must have been a kind of a crazy day, because everybody's dream is to win the Stanley Cup, and you're all sitting around and you're probably waiting for that moment.
Yeah, and that's what it was. You couldn't sleep. You were nervous. We couldn't make a pass in the morning. We didn't know what we were doing. But once he put us at ease, it was like we came to that game, and we went back into our mode, and we were in that mode the whole playoffs. We just business to do shift by shift, and it's funny to say, but that's basically how we did it, and it was incredible. So, and that's where experience takes over. 2 guys, maybe I think 2 guys on the team won. It was Pepe, Claude Lemieux, and Riche had won before in Montreal, but we had 10, maybe 20 Stanley Cups standing behind us, and Larry Robinson and Jacques Lemaire. So so that was pretty helpful. Their experience helped us through that game.
Yeah, steadying influence for sure. Well, listen, Johnny Mac, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. We'll be watching during the Olympics, during the rest of the season. I'll be watching Kyle with the Islanders. Hopefully they'll get in the playoffs. It'll be fun to watch. So, listen, thanks again for the time, my friend. And congratulations once again on getting into the Ring of Honor, because very well deserved.
All right. Thanks, EJ. Appreciate it.
All right. John MacLean, longtime New Jersey Devil. And, of course, a Toronto kid who made good. Oshawa, Toronto. It's all, for me down here, it's all kind of. Yeah. Okay. I'll listen. We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that, Mac. We'll let the viewers decide. what they think. All right. Thanks for the time today, buddy.
All right. Thanks, Steve.
All right. You've been watching the Toronto Sports Rush right here, presented by the Bet Rivers Network.
Thanks for watching Toronto Sports Rush on the Bet Rivers Network.